Andy Stevenson for SevereMMA, and I'm joined alongside Mama B. Look, it didn't go your way. How are you feeling?
Depressed out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How have you been? How have the last few days been? I suppose I'm sure it's your UFC debut was a big moment, going in undefeated. You didn't get the win. I said to you just before a minute ago, I think there's a lot of positives to take away from that week. I thought you came across brilliantly. The fact that it was on Virgin Media, there was a lot of pressure on you coming in here, but looking at you from the outside in, it seemed that you were taking everything in your stride. You looked happy, buzzing, and you didn't get the results. But overall, I think it was. It's probably easy for me to say a successful week. I don't know if successful if you look like that, but there's a lot of positives to take from that. I think a lot of people will think from that for you.
Yeah, like the week itself it was super smooth, and I enjoyed every second of it. Like the media, the team, the UFC team, all the staff, everybody was unreal, super helpful. The weight cut, everything went perfect in the lead up. But I don't really know what happened on the night. Like even in the warm-up, I felt sharp. I felt walking out into the crowd, I felt good. There was obviously nerves, all different emotions I was going through, but I felt good. And then when I got into the cage, I don't know, my distance. The cage was obviously the biggest cage I've ever fought in. It was a lot bigger. I feel like I fought like a kickboxing fight. Forgot it was MMA nearly. And for that to happen on the most important night in my career, it was heartbreaking. Like I just felt like the whole world was nearly looking at me, and I let myself down, and I let my team down, and my family and friends, and it's heartbreaking. It really is. And like, I don't want to get.
Well, look, no. What I would say to you firstly is you didn't let anyone down. Like your family, your friends, everyone looking at you is supporting you, and they love you. So I wouldn't be thinking that way. Genuinely, I know it's easy for when my perspective or anyone looking outside, even your family's perspective, is going to be different to your own when you're in there and you've gone through it and you've had the loss and you feel like the world is kind of swallowing you up. But I wouldn't think about it that way, because there are lots of positives to take. Maybe we'll talk about the fight and kind of your reaction to it after. But as I said, the fight week itself, you're all smiles, buzzing with confidence. Did you enjoy that experience of a whole new thing? You know, you're going from fighting I saw you there in a circus tent not too long ago, fighting, and now you're in the O2 in London with tons and tons of people there.
Deco Kenny.
Yeah, shout out to Cage Legacy. I was a big fan of that night.
No, I know, and come here, like I am. It's like, I know it's a huge achievement, and it's the biggest platform in the world, and it's the best stage in the world. I think, like, if I had went out and fought my heart out and left everything in the cage and lost, I'd obviously still be fuming and pissed off or whatever, but it's just, I know I could have beaten her. And I just didn't leave it all out there. I didn't let loose. Like, I think the last round I probably started to kind of get a little bit more comfortable and throw more shots. I didn't even throw my hands. I didn't grapple. I just kind of kicked. It was nearly like a taekwondo fight, and I don't know whether it was because her style was kind of similar to my style, that the muscle memory in my head went back to point fighting days nearly. But I felt like there was no venom in my shots. It was. You
sound almost confused by the performance.
Yeah, because I'm just like, that's not me. Like if you look at my last few fights, like I've grappled loads and I've wrestled and I've striked, and that's me like putting my full click together. And for it to not happen on that night, it's frustrating. Yeah. Because the whole week went so smooth. I was loving, like, all the media. I was loving every second. It was intense. I'm not gonna say it wasn't. It was intense. Like, I don't think the camera was off me at any stage between the interviews with at home on Zoom. Then they done like an embedded series for me being my debut. Like, it was a lot. Like,
the
it was
show.
Yeah, like everything. Like, it was a lot. Like the aerial and all. Like, it was. But I loved it, and it wasn't a case where I was like, oh, I don't want it. Like, I loved every second of it, and I enjoyed it. I understand that that's part of my job, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's like I am a fighter, but that's all part of it, the media and all that. And I love every second of it, but it's just, I suppose maybe on fight day, it was a lot. Like I kind of just wanted to be left on my own, and the cameras were still in my room when I'm packing my bag. They were there with me when I was having my breakfast. Like it was a lot. It was intense. Not to say that.
When you say it was a lot, like, did you feel extra like, were you getting irritated? Was it frustration? Was it like was it adding to nerves or anything like that? Or
no, it wasn't that. Like I'm grand talking to the camera. Like I'll talk all day. Like I'll just yap away. That part of it is fine. It was just sometimes you like to kind of switch your mind off and be quiet for a while so that you can actually switch and prepare for the fight. Whereas fight day went like that. We left for the arena at 2. I got to the arena. I got drug tested, and then I was fighting. Like it was literally like we got off the bus, got into the warm-up area. I was like having a little stretch, and they were like, "Oh, we're anti-doping taking you." Then I got back, hands wrapped out, and I was in the couch. Like it was just go, 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 and I don't think there was a second for me to actually slow down and register what was actually happening.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was just go, 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 and there was no slow down, and that's something that I'll take, and I'll be like, right, next time, like I will do the media, but there's a certain amount of me time that I need for me to
and is that like preparation for, right, I need to be in the mindset of I'm going out here to fight in a cage, and you need to visualize everything and all, and you do the media, but
do you know,
at the end of the day you're getting in a cage to fight another woman.
Yeah, and like she wants to kill me, I want to kill her, so you need to kind of get that switch. And I do, like on fight day, I try not to think about the fight as much as possible until I need to think about the fight, because I've done all that in the camp. I've done my game plan, I've done what I've got to do. Well, if this happens, all that has been taught about already. So on fight day I try not to think about the fight, because I don't want to waste energy on nerves and getting all like worked up before I need to, because that day I want to just conserve my energy, eat my meals, rest, chill, and I didn't really get to do that. Not saying that was what went wrong, but that is one thing that I can kind of take into consideration, that it was just I didn't have the time to myself to kind of just switch off and be like, right, this is happening. Do you know what I mean? Even like since I got signed, like everything has just been mental.
It's been a whirlwind.
Yeah, like it all just happened like that, and like then the fight camp went so fast. Like it was the fastest fight camp ever, and then I was just there, and I was walking out to a stadium, and I was like, and then it was on.
And were you happy with the fight camp itself?
Yeah, like like I don't think there was anything. Like life, obviously, in the outside, like things happen, but like the actual camp itself and my training, and like I did break my nose at the very start of the camp. So I wasn't able to spar for maybe. I still sparred like with a mask on, so it wasn't actual sparring because my distance is like this much and people can hit me from halfway across the room. Me and Sarah were grappling and she loafed me and my nose broke.
Oh no.
Yeah, so the first like 3 weeks of sparring, 4 maybe, I wasn't really, or 3-4 weeks of the camp I wasn't sparring. So that was kind of it. But like I worked around it and it was...
Yeah, you kind of did what you had to do.
Yeah, but like the camp itself, like I can't really say that there was... Like in the training aspect, I couldn't have changed anything. Like I think I'd done everything that I needed to do. I felt super fit. Like in between the rounds I wasn't tired. Like I was... Because I could have given more, you know.
I mean, I think round 3 showed that, you know, that was, I would say, your strongest round, and you know, you clearly weren't slowing down as far as energy or anything went. Yeah,
no, I felt super fit. Like I think with my training that I do in the ISI with John Connors and then the LTP class, like between the balance of them and my conditioning training, I feel like the fittest that I've ever fit. I think the 5-minute rounds are like, my body has fully adapted to them now. Like, do you know, I think maybe like the Denver one I was panicking about because the altitude, but like it was grand, and then like now 5 minutes it's no bother. Like I think I have it to a T, the conditioning and the cardio side. You mentioned the altitude in Denver there, and I thought like one of the most beautiful things of the entire week was seeing you with Jace throughout the week, like going from your previous fight where you know you've talked about sleeping in an altitude tent, not being with him, and then having that separation, to now being able to, you know, he's there, like I think at the weigh-in show and a few different parts. Did that give you kind of energy throughout the week? Was that, I imagine, like you're smiling now even just thinking about it? Yeah, no, 100%. It was he was there for the face-off, so when I walked out I could see him in the audience. The UFC gave my family like real close seats, so they were like right at the front, so I was able to see them, and then afterwards we all went for food together, and we were actually in Wagamama's, and Bruna was there, and Jace went off and he was over the opposite table and he was going over to Bruna. I was like, no, get back. Anyone but her. Like, what are the chances she's in the same restaurant, and then my son's running over to her table. I was like, seriously.
Yeah.
But no, seeing him before the fight, that was good, because I only left on Tuesday and then I seen him on the Friday. But those few days away, like, because we're together every day, 24/7, so it's like those few days away from each other are hard. And it was great to see him before the fight, because that is one thing I struggle with, is when I'm away in like America or whatever, not being able to see him, and the time zone difference. So when I'm FaceTime, he's in bed, or you know, and it clashes. So it was great to see him before the fight.
Yeah, you know. So we've kind of gone through the fight, but the fight itself, when you're backstage, I think it was on Ariel's show on the MMA, where you were saying you're not nervous about fighting, but there is that healthy kind of nerve that everyone, I imagine, goes through when you're backstage and you're waiting kind of to be called out. Did that feel the same? Did it feel any different when you were backstage? I know you said it was rushed, but
that's one thing. Like, I don't remember feeling that. There wasn't time for me to register that feeling in the warm-up area, because I got there, I was taken for anti-doping, got my hands wrapped, done 3 rounds on the pad, done a bit of grappling with Paddy, and we were walking. So I didn't have a stage in that room where I was just, like, normally I do a bit of pads, stretch, relax, few seconds, maybe a little bit more pads, a bit of grappling, relax, chill, and then a little bit more before I walk. Whereas it was just boom, boom, and I was in the couch.
Do you remember walking out?
Yeah. No, I remember walking out, yeah. It was deadly.
Yeah, because like you were beaming. I saw your family. I was kind of looking to see the Irish flags, and I saw
my uncle going like this. I was like, what's he doing?
Your man, dad jumping
up and down. It's like he's cooling someone down. Flag upside down.
But it did, like, you look cool as a cucumber walking out. You looked happy, and I would even say, like, you know, after the first round, even you didn't look like you were like, okay. There was no visible signs on your face that you were in any way panicked or anything like that. I've got ahead of myself, but like, when you get in the cage, and as I said, you know, you've been fighting on local shows in Ireland. Obviously, you fought in Invicta as well, a bigger show. But you've got Bruce Buffer. You know, people always talk about, hang on, there's Bruce Buffer, and he's shouting at me in my face, and this doesn't feel real. What was that experience like for you when you're in the cage and it's your UFC debut in a stadium and Bruce Buffer's shouting your name out? Yeah,
it was unreal. And like, I don't, like, everyone's like, were you like overwhelmed by the situation, and is that what the issue was? And I honestly, like, I felt like I belonged in there. So like, it wasn't a cage where I was like shook by any of it. I was like, this is where I belong, and I felt a home in that cage. I just think, I don't know if it was like muscle memory in my brain, because the horse style was so similar to point fighting, and I fought that fight like a point fighting fight. Like, looking back at it.
Looking back now, what would you like to have done differently?
Punched more, definitely, because I don't think I punched enough at all. Grappled more as well. Like, I think I could have taken her down and beat her up on the floor. But it was so in my head to knock her out, and that's probably a mistake that I made, because I was thinking I can get an extra 50 grand if I knock this board out, instead of just thinking about the win, which was the most important thing at the end of the day. Obviously, it's nice to get a bonus or whatever, but I was like, yeah, I'll knock her out, get an extra 50 grand, and lovely, happy days. But I forgot about my punching, forgot about my grappling. Like, I could have even submitted her. Like, as soon as she took me down, I switched to an armbar. If there had been a few more seconds in that round, I would have got her arm out. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I've so many different aspects of my game, and I just don't feel like I switched it up when I should have.
Yeah.
I stuck to what I was doing, and like, kind of start working towards the second and third round, but like, I think maybe the grappling might have been a little bit more effective, because our striking was kind of so similar. I think we clashed. We were both hesitant, and then she was kind of catching me more than I was catching her, and then in the third round I was kind of catching her more than she. But it was too late then. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, she obviously landed some strong shots in the first and second round. Like, there was a couple of big head kicks, the spinning back fist, stuff like that. Yeah. But like, you know, it was still nip and tuck. When you're sitting on the stool and Paddy's in front of you and he's giving you advice, like the first round, as I said, you looked very calm. The second round, I would say your face changed a little bit. Did you know in the moment? What was going through your mind in the fight, I guess, or as you're sitting down? Are you thinking, am I losing here? Like, are you thinking I'm winning?
I kind of always think I'm losing for some reason. Like, if you ask Paddy in between every round, I'm always like, did I win that? Okay. I didn't ask him that the weekend, because I knew I lost. in my opinion. Like, I definitely lost the first round. I think the second round was very close, and then I knew I won the third round. The second round could have went either way. I think one referee gave it to me and the other two gave it to her. It was close. Like, it was close, but I think if I had been my best, I would have beaten her easy. You know, it was like my worst day out there, and it was the worst time for it to be the worst day, because the whole world was looking at me. Everyone's like, oh, the hype trains, all this shite, whatever. I don't care. This is like, I'm a human being at the end of the day. Like, this is my career, this is my livelihood, this is how I provide for my child. And there is so many supportive people out there, but there's obviously freaks that are sitting in their mom's bedroom probably writing off fake accounts saying mad shit, saying I don't belong there. I do fucking belong there, and I know I belong there. I had my worst day and I still won rounds in that fight. You know what I mean? So I know I belong there. I know I'm gonna be in the top 15, in the top 10, and go for that belt. I know that I'm gonna be there. It's unfortunate that that was my debut, but I do believe that everything happens for a reason, and I don't understand why now, but there will be a time where I'll look back and be like, I probably needed that then. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm in this for the long run. I'm only a professional, like, just over a year. I've so much more to give, and I'm just going to keep growing from this. And
look, you're also surrounded by people who have been there and done it. You know, you've a good relationship with Ashton Daly. Of course, Paddy, he's had success in the UFC, and now you're new backer, Forged Irish Stouts, Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Like, were you chatting with Conor at all after? Did he give you any advice?
He's been sending me loads of voice notes and messages and saying that we'll train together, and like he's giving me feedback to hold. He was like, I thought you won the fight. He was like, I thought the first round or the last round was yours. Now, I didn't think I won the first round, but that's what he said to me. But yeah, like, and I'll get some training in with him, because he's obviously that southpaw style, and I'm working a lot on southpaw now with Paddy and Collie, and I think it's something that can make my kicks land better, and I didn't show it in that fight, but I have been, like, southpaw has been working really well for me in sparring lately. So yeah, get a bit of working with him, continue working with Paddy and Collie, because the two of them, like, combined together are like the best coaches in Ireland, if not the world. You know what I mean? And to have them in my corner is just unreal. And
was there any, like, specific advice that any of them gave you, like whether it was Paddy or Collie or Conor or Ash or whoever, about dealing with the loss specifically?
Not about dealing with the loss. They kind of gave me more feedback on the mistakes that I made in the fight. Like Conor was saying, when I was blitzing, I was kind of like leaving my body behind me instead of standing under my shot, so the power was gone. And I definitely felt that. Like, I remember at one stage I blitzed and she was against the fence and her head was here, but I was off balance as well, whereas that could have been a stage where I could have whacked up a kick and knocked her out. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's something that I had adjusted in previous fights and working well, where I was underneath my shots and I was throwing them. Like, even in the Nadia Vera shot, like, I boxed loads in that and I landed lovely combinations in that, and it was just like, my legs are obviously my strength, but my hands are good as well, and I didn't show it in that fight, but I will in my next one.
I feel like you're the type of person who will, you've experienced loss before as an amateur, and we saw the run that you came, after that you came back after having a child, and went on an amazing run, so I've no doubt it'll spur you on. But knowing you're always looking for, I want the next fight. Paddy, when's the next fight? Is it different now? Are you taking a little bit of time, or are you looking to get right back in?
No, I'm going to take a bit of time. I'm going to take time to digest. I think, like, towards the end of that camp, I was tired. I was definitely tired. Like, I remember, like, even like sessions towards the last 2 weeks, and obviously my calories are lower and I'm after doing a full camp and I am tired, but I remember being like halfway through sessions and I'd be like, right, I'm halfway through, I only have another bit to go, and I was never kind of like that. So I am tired mentally and physically. I've had a lot of fights in the past year, and there's been a lot going on in my life separately as well, so I think I'm going to take like a little bit of time to digest, go to Thailand, have like a few days of a holiday, and then the rest I'll do 3 weeks of like training over there. Do you know what I mean? And then come back. A few pad thais, peanuts on top.
Do you know what the best ones are? Like, you just find the random one on the street where it's like some lad just cooking it out of his van or something.
Gorgeous. They're unreal. Like,
so that's the plan though.
Yeah. So I'll take a few days, just register everything that's after happening, digest, and I am going to rush back into it. I'd like to fight again, probably November or December.
But like, it must give you confident. Like, there is a groundswell in Ireland at the moment. There's Irish fighters being signed. From speaking, I said to you, speaking with the UFC staff, they're like, they love you. They think it's great, and I think, you know, I spoke with Dave Shaw, one of the on the international side, the executives, and they're looking to do a show in Ireland. So like, that must, despite the loss, despite all of that, is there any kind of positive to take away from the week, or no?
Yeah, no, like, come here, the staff were all like, Shauna, like, all those media obligations that you've done, and you've done it all with ease. Like they were like, it's not often we see that. They were like, you just shined through all them interviews. You took it on your stride. Like, they were all so positive and giving me such positive feedback. Even Bruce Buffer came up to me after the fight, and he was like, darling, he was like, this is only the start, you're amazing, I can see it in your eyes and all. And he gave me his little badge and all. Like, all of the people that were there were so supportive, and they've had nothing but good things to say about me, and I know that I belong there. Like, that's my job now, that's the company that I work for, and I feel at home there, and I'm not going to rush anything. I know I have a long career ahead of me, and I do know I will be UFC champion. This is just a bump in the road, and I will be back. And I probably needed this. I don't know why, but I probably needed it. And like, you learn more from a loss. Everyone says that. And come here, I've learned more in the past couple of days than I have in a long time. Do you know what I mean? So I'm only going to take positives from it. It is fucking shit. It's shit, don't get me wrong. Today is I felt a little bit better today than I did yesterday. Yesterday I was just like...
What did yesterday look like?
Yesterday was dark.
Okay.
Yesterday was dark.
Yeah.
Every time I looked at Jason, made it a little bit better, but like, yesterday was tough.
Yeah.
And it is, and it's going to probably be a few more days later, and it'll be tough again, and it's not going to be easy. I'm not someone that takes loss as well. I am a sore loser, and I fucking hate losing, and I have since a young age. But I think that's good, because when I see people losing and they're like, I'll get back again. No, like, you should be upset when you've lost. This is what you're working towards. This is my dreams, this is my goals, and I lost. Like, that's not a good thing. I should be upset about it, and if I wasn't, I'd be worried. Do you know what I mean? Because it is a bad thing. Like, do you know what I mean? It's not a positive thing, it's a bad thing, do you know? So,
I mean, no one goes into a case thinking, do you know what, I'd love to lose that fight.
No, and like, especially the fact that I didn't perform. Like, there was not even anywhere near my potential.
Is that what hurts more than the loss itself, is that?
Yeah. Like, if I went out there and put on an unreal performance and the two of us had an absolute knock and it was a war and I lost, I'd be like, look, I went out there, I performed well, but it's the fact that I didn't even come near close to what I'm capable of. That's the hardest part for me. Like, it is.
Well, look, I'm sure there's no doubt in my mind you'll get another opportunity to right the wrong, to have a great fight, maybe with slightly less media, or who knows.
They'll probably have me down double the next time.
Exactly. And to get a win. But look, I was saying to Paddy, we were chatting back and forth, I think being Irish is kind of a blessing and a curse when it comes to the UFC, because you've got people like me and Petey and whoever else and Sean Sheen, and there's loads of I feel like there's an exorbitant amount of like Irish media, and we will say, you know, well not hype, but we'll give credit to fighters and try build them up and say they should be in the UFC, and you know, with the rise of Conor McGregor, the UFC love an Irish story, so there's always more pressure. Most Irish fighters have not won their UFC debut, is the reality as well. You're not alone. So this has happened to loads. Neil Seery didn't win his UFC debut, and he went on to have a great career in the UFC. So I would say, keep your head up, don't be too hard on yourself, and there'll be another opportunity. But I appreciate you doing this, because I know it's not easy. You're putting yourself out there, and it's shit, as you said. I don't know what it's like, but it seems pretty shit.
It's shit.
So look, I appreciate you doing the interview. I'm sure people are glad to hear you, that, you know, you're going to be back in there.
I'll be fucking back, don't worry.
And I imagine you'll be back with a vengeance too.
Yeah.
So look, Shauna Bannon didn't win this time, but she'll be back.
I will.